These ladies are dynamic. If there's a business you thought you wanted to do, it's probably represented on this stage right now. So I'm excited about it. Here I go with my quotes. So, this one. The reason why I've been able to be so financially successful is my focus has never, ever for 1 minute been money. Money is created by finding a way to bring more value to other people. Our girl Oprah Winfrey. So with that, I'd like for you guys to spend 3 minutes introducing yourself, telling about what you do, and then we'll get into the discussion.
All I get is 3 minutes. I'm just joking.
It's just the introduction, girl.
Good afternoon, ladies and a few gents. My name is Tiana Harrison. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I am a real estate agent. I used to say luxury a lot, but seeing that we've been in an ongoing pandemic, I do real estate, period. Regardless if it's luxury, if it's an investment property, distress, buyers, sellers, representing clients in sports and entertainment, I do it. I would say that outside of that, or just adding to that, I'm an advocate for these young men, these retired men, these former NFL players, because a lot of times what happens is, and I'm trying to get the nerves out, ladies. A lot of times what happens is that they come into this industry or they come out and they've either been taken advantage of or they're afraid to be taken advantage of. So not only have I had the opportunity to work with them, their wives, their mothers, it's just been a privilege to exist in that platform. My intentions were never to go into luxury real estate. My intentions were never to be an NFL realtor or a sports and entertainment realtor. I just wanted to help people accomplish a dream. And oftentimes that starts with a player wanting to purchase a home for his mother, or hearing stories about a player having 11, 12 brothers and sisters, where there were a time where he could remember there only being a stick of butter in the refrigerator. And I think of that story, and then I think about the home that he initially purchased and the home that he's currently building, an 18,000 square foot forever home for he, his wife, and 4 children. And I'm elated because it's like, you see what God can do? And they're the most private, discerning, humble people that I could have ever met. So this community is not one that I just leverage in business, but it's one that I'm truly connected to. And I say that to the extent that my children are with that player, current player, and his wife, and they're the godparents of my children. I've been in real estate for almost 10 years, from the property management realm through residential and commercial real estate. Outside of that, and first and foremost, I am a mother of 2. I have a 6 and an 8-year-old, and I have my husband is Arnold Harrison. He is an undrafted free agent. He was an undrafted free agent. He has been 10 years removed from the NFL. He does have 2 Super Bowl rings, but we are championing life after the NFL because we have just been successful. Because what I like to advise the women that come into my realm is that you have to be a teammate first, especially those women who are current wives and girlfriends of NFL players, as well as those who will, are who are existing in that world. And so it's like he is my teammate. He is my teammate, and, as far as you're concerned, once the game stops, he's your teammate also. So I have the luxury of being a wife to an NFL player, as well as my mother to my children, and I enjoy every aspect of it. Again, I'm in Atlanta. I'm a real estate agent, and I look forward to sharing with you today. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Kim Staples.
Lovely. Follow that up. Hi, ladies. I'm Amber Staples. My husband is Justin Staples. He played the majority of his career with the Titans. I'm a new mom. I have a 7-month-old baby. He is upstairs. I couldn't leave him. I am the CEO and founder of Stapled LLC, which includes the Stapled Events and the Stapled Events venues. We currently have 3 locations in Chicago. We are actually expanding to Las Vegas. That's exclusive news. I haven't officially made that announcement, so you guys are getting the exclusive. So we are currently expanding to Las Vegas as well. On the event planning side, we plan conferences, trade shows, weddings, and social events in Chicago and nationwide. If you were in Miami, we were on the Set an Example Conference Planning Committee in Miami. We partner with the NFLPA, Off the Field Players' Wives, Cabassier, and many other brands that you guys know of. So follow us on Instagram at Stapled Events.
Hi everyone, I'm Kim Bryant. I'm the owner of Kid Wonder. It's a kinetic learning academy in San Diego. We are opening a few more locations currently. Our focus is athletics in the school. I wanted to change the way children learn. They're going to be stuck behind a desk, raising their hand in a classroom for so long. We all have athletes in our life, and a lot of athletes need to get a lot more energy out to learn and move around instead of, fidgeting while trying to be lectured. So I started a school. It's in a gym. We have gymnastics and American Ninja Warrior as well, but we do pre-K to 5th grade. They learn while they're in the gym, so they're learning their letters and numbers, jumping on the trampoline, walking across the balance beam, climbing a rock wall. And as they get older, there's scavenger hunts in the gym. They have to do certain skills to learn their sight words and those kinds of things. We also have after-school program. A lot of this was founded because everyone's diagnosed with ADD these days, and instead of giving them meds or forcing them to sit down and sit still, this helps get their energy out, and it helps the brain absorb more information this way. So we live in San Diego. My husband was forced to retire because he needed a kidney transplant 2 years ago, right before COVID. He was blessed. We were all blessed to get him a transplant, and it's cool to be here because I've already learned that there's other players that are going through the same thing, and these are the resources we need to help get our guys healthy, especially after they're retired and don't have those resources anymore. So I'm grateful to be here. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, ladies, gentlemen. My name is Shannon Whitehead. I am the wife of Tyre Whitehead, who is an NFL veteran. He's still currently playing. He's been playing for 10 years. This will be year 11 for us. I say us. People always make comments like, "You're not on the team." Yes, I am. Okay? And those that know. We are a team. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I am the mommy of 4 boys. We're creating a little football team of our own. We do a lot of different things. My husband and I, we are involved in trucking. We are involved in real estate. We're involved in a couple other things that are just becoming legalized. We're involved in a bunch of things. But I recently, not so recent, but it's just coming to life, started my own journey. And I ventured off and bought into a franchise of preschools. So I own preschools. I own, and we are expanding as well, preschools. They're called Kiddie Academies. And I'm so proud to be here because I'm coming into myself. For so long, my husband was a 5th round draft pick, but it happened what felt like overnight. It felt like it was overnight for me. We had been together since high school, and this was just never our dream. I went to school for social work. I wanted to be a social worker, and he wanted to be a state trooper. And that was our dream. It might have seemed small, but we were happy with that. And one day, the NFL came into play, and although I was happy, I didn't know what that meant. And I did. I put all my dreams aside. I never wanted to be, and everybody's different, but I personally never wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I had dreams and aspirations of my own, but I put them aside for my family. I put them aside for my husband and his journey, and to support him. And sitting on this stage, it's a big deal for me. I was nervous. I got 2 of my closest NFL pals, my friends, here to support me, but it's big because this is about me. I don't want to talk about what we do together. This is my journey, and I'm finally coming into myself as a woman. And it's just big for me. It's big to have been asked to be here for my businesses, for what I'm doing. I'm proud of me, and I'm proud of anybody else who is on their way and or there doing their thing. Let's keep doing us, ladies, because someone else at one point said that don't forget that you're the trophy. We are the prize, okay? And don't let anybody ever forget it. People ask me, how does it feel to be married to an NFL player? And I'll look at him and say, well, ask him how it feels to be married to me. Right. So just I know we're just getting started. And I'm sorry if I'm rambling, but I mean it. I'm proud to be here. I'm proud to be in front of you all. And this is a big deal. It's a big deal. So hopefully I can help with anybody who's trying to jump off the cliff and get their business going too.
I think that deserves applause for all the ladies. And we're all here. Everybody is nervous and getting the jitters, and I don't know how to better explain it to you than we're all family. People say, I know no strangers, and it's the truth because life experience will show us that we all are experienced in life. So, first question to Kim Bryant. Yay, you got the mic. How did you identify what you wanted to do? It is so completely unique. I so wish you had one in Georgia with us. But how did you identify that this is what you wanted to do? And this is a niche in education.
For sure, and I'm getting that more and more today. I wish you had one here, I wish you had one there, especially the way education's going and what they're teaching our kids. I came from Long Island, New York, where the schools were good, and I had a lot of great experiences as a child, but I was fortunate to have those experiences. My grandparents helped put us in camps and that kind of thing. And I actually took care of foster children in college, and I would take them to go do these different activities. And I said, how can I give this opportunity to all kids? And I think we talked about this. We had a similar mission of being able to do it nonprofit, but of course you need to make money to give anybody anything for free. So I realized when I was taking care of those foster kids how much I love children. I actually went to high school and started off college focusing on fashion design. I hated it, and don't look at me as a fashionista. It's long gone. That was high school dreams. And I had nannied since I was 12 years old, and I loved the kids I took care of, and I didn't want to be a stay-at-home mom because I like to work, but I have 3 kids. I have twin 9-month-olds and a 3-year-old, and I wanted to be able to work and have my kids there with me and give them those experiences that I grew up with, so I can go, know the education they're learning and make sure they're getting their energy out in the right ways and staying out of trouble. And that was my why. It was to give kids all these opportunities and to change the way these children are learning, because the education system is getting more and more lost. So I wanted our parents to have a say in your own child's life, and we allow parents into our school to volunteer and be, get their physical body moving while learning.
Amazing. As a parent, I will say to you, thank you for being the change that you wanted to see, because that is invaluable. Next question is to Tiana. And this question is, do you have a mentor? Everybody sees Tiana. Tiana's an amazing realtor. She's one of my go-tos in Atlanta when people are looking for property. I'm like, I got a friend, because she's going to sell you what you need and not what everybody else thinks you should have. Do you have a mentor or an aspirational person that inspired you to get into this business?
I'll tell you this because this is a big thing, and definitely one of the questions that I get often. I don't have a set mentor. There have been people to motivate me and inspire me. And so what happens is when young agents or prospective agents come to me and they ask, can they mentor me? And I think about my kids' itinerary, and I think about having to be not having to be, but my role as a helpmate and a devoted wife. it's just not, I mean, I don't have Beyonce hours. I don't know about anybody else, but it's just not enough time in the day. And so what I like to do is say, hey, to the next real estate agent in the room, what areas are you in? How can we partner? So partnership is very vital to my business. My family, my power players. My alliance partners in business are very strategic because those people who are connected to you are an extension of your business and who you are as well as your brand. So I have to be connected to very good people. So then my spirit of discernment starts kicking in, and I say that if so to go back to your question, as far as mentorship, I don't have a mentor. I often consult with my husband, who is very good at business and has a great business acumen. Like when I tell you we're team players, like if nobody else is on the earth, I told him, but prior to us getting married, we might lose it, but we're going to get it back. And you should feel that way about your partner or about your mate. And so I consult with him. I consult with people who are very instrumental and have a knowledge base and expertise in certain areas. One of my alliance partners, my preferred closing attorneys who I work with in Atlanta, Tiffany Halls, is here, and she has been instrumental in the success of my business. When I closed my very first football player, I know a lot of times people think, oh yeah, you are successful at transacting athletes because your husband is in the business. No. Actually, I was at the gym, and my personal trainer had a bunch of wives and a bunch of girlfriends that started saying, oh, I need to find a home, Tiana. Oh, I need to find a home. And then that trickled from there. Their business, their husbands or boyfriends, business partners said, okay, you have done well at this. Then they started sending me other people, and I'm like, okay, this is how I fell into working with professional athletes. And then as an extension of my business with people like Tiffany Halls, they were like, oh, you guys got that done. And it was discreet. It was confidential. You handle it. Our clients trust you. They respect you. And so I think that it just comes back around to who you align with. Who you align with and how you can be mutually beneficial and respectful to each other. Did I answer that?
Yes, you answered that. And the answer, wrap it up, is wisdom comes in a multitude of counselors.
Thank you.
That part.
Thank you.
Shannon, it's your turn. So let me just give you guys a little preface of the book of Miss Shannon. She is a person that I just met over this conference call, and when I tell you, I get inspired because I just like people to win. But she has so many things she's doing, but her passion is consistent. And I was like, my gosh, she's doing trucking, she's doing real estate, she's doing things, and you can talk to her about any subject, and the passion is the same. So I want to talk to you about that passion. Why were you so passionate and intentional? It's going out on me. Passionate and intentional about being in Open City Academy.
You have to let your passion fuel you. There was a need. It's just that simple. I promised myself that I would just tell it like it. There was a need. I live in the Atlanta area, the Atlanta metro area, and I'm from New Jersey originally, and my opinion, it may not be everybody's, but education where I'm from is a little bit different. To say the least, I'm a mama bear. I don't play about my kids. I don't play about other people's kids. Anybody that knows me can attest to that. We can't, it's the nature of the business, we can't trust easily, but no mom should trust easily. So when I moved to Georgia, there was a need, and it was that simple. I could not find someone that gave me the feeling, the warmth, the feeling that the love, that no one gave me that feeling that I could trust them with my children. I went to schools high, schools low, private schools, Catholic, I went everywhere. And I just couldn't find that. And I'm not to say it's not out there, but I couldn't find it. And I loved children, and I had always thought to myself, like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? And one thing I'm good at, not just making babies, but taking care of them. And I said, there it is. I know what I want to do. I know what I can do, and I know what I can bring to this area. Like you said, you be the change you want to see in the world. So I wanted to be the change. And like I said, we spoke about this on the Zoom. I said, even if my schools at this moment hold close to 200 children, those 200 children I can speak for. And that's 200 children that I can vouch for, and parents that I can protect, and that I can help, and that I know as a mom, when I leave my child, my heart is literally aching every time I'm not with them. As I sit here on this stage, I think about my babies. I want parents to feel safe when they leave their babies with me. That's my passion, drives me every day. I go above and beyond. And I get on my construction, like the construction guys, I piss them off daily. And then I'll just, really quick, I'll tell you a little story. One of my construction workers, I piss him off all the time, but one day he calls me and he's like, Shannon, I gotta tell you something. So what's up? He said, I just got a call from my daughter up in Michigan. I said, what happened? And he said that she was at her preschool and she escaped. Her and the little boy escaped. And they went next door, 2 years old, went next door to an auto body shop. And they found the babies in a car. I'm good for a story. They found the babies in a car, and it took them 45 minutes, and my heart sunk. Do you know how much can happen to a baby in 45 minutes? I had so many questions. I know he didn't know the answers, but I called my director. I said, make sure this happens, make sure this happens, make sure this happens. She's like, what just happened? I said, you know what? Stuff is happening every day, and I can't have it on my watch. My passion as a mother drives me every day. It took them 45 minutes to realize those babies were gone. As a mother, how would you feel getting that call? So I promised myself that my passion would always drive me. And the love of a mother will drive you to do insane things. So I just said I'm gonna be insane for all 200 of my children at each school that I have. So I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely. And people, now you see the passion that I was talking about. Listen, starting your business, and this is what I'm talking about, being in the details, because these are all great stories. This is at the end. Childbirth has happened. In the beginning, how did you decide? LLC, S Corp, do I even need to file? What do I need? Do I need insurance to do this business? Do I have to get licensed, education? What are we doing? You have 3 event spaces. When I met you, you were the events planner, aspirational. You guys, this was only 3 years ago. She has 3 venues of her own. She hosts her own product, and she's hosting events all over. In Vegas, we expect to see her back on the team, but that's another thing. But how did you decide what format you were going to file this business under?
So the simple answer is I asked. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I'm the master or I know everything. I am still learning every single day. And when I decided to start the business, I had worked in corporate America for years, but I was never a business owner. And I didn't know what it meant to be an entrepreneur. So I asked our accountant, and we just kind of assessed everything, all of my goals, all of my needs. He asked me a ton of questions. We realized that I wasn't really looking for something that had shareholders. I wasn't trying to go that big. I wasn't looking to have a business that would go public one day, I wanted to start the business with my husband, so a sole proprietorship wouldn't have worked for me. So we decided that the LLC was the best way to go. It gave us the flexibility to manage the business how we wanted to manage it. My husband and I are the owners, but I manage all of the businesses. And I continued to ask. I didn't stop asking questions. So we created DBAs because for my business structure, that's what worked best for us. So it's Stapled LLC, DBA Stapled Events, DBA Stapled Events Venues, DBA Stapled Design. He helps me to file my annual report. I had no idea what an annual report was, and I missed it the first year of business. And then we got a letter, and it said I owed like an extra, because it's Illinois and Chicago likes their taxes. I owed an extra like $175 on top of the $50 or $75 filing fee for the annual report. And he helped me to make sure that I'm always compliant, helped me get my business license, ensured that the venue spaces were in the correct zoning, because that's really important. So going back to what Tiana was talking about, aligning yourself, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask, especially if you don't know. It's okay to go and ask someone. Our business accountant has been with us since my husband first started in the league, and I trusted him, and I knew that when I seek that advice, I would get answers. I knew that he would help me and lead me in a way that would be beneficial to me and my business. So yeah, that's how we got into the LLC. It was the right thing to do.
So this question I'm going to pose to Tiana as well as to Kim. And the question I have, because we have all these aspirational ideas, but I'm going to get to the nitty-gritty of what we need to know. And that question is, as transparent as you want to be, how much did it cost you to start your business? Because a lot of businesses, people think I might be able to start it with $1 and a dream, and you might be able to. And then other business, it is a capital investment. And a lot of people don't talk about what was the struggle game, what did I have to invest to get my business started, and what were the associated costs, like for your licensing, because you're a real.
Okay. So I think that this question depends on your goals. As a real estate professional, again, I came in about 10 years ago, and at that time, it wasn't necessarily all the glitz and glam that you see on social media where everybody is doing a photo shoot. Like, that's just, it blows my mind. But I told you I'm gonna do better with social media, so okay. I told a few of y'all that. So so to go back to how much. I was a property manager for a luxury high-rise condominium in Midtown Atlanta. I had a portfolio of 2 properties, and we got married. My daughter came, and one of us had to be flexible. My husband is in the automotive industry. I think in Dallas, his company owns, is it Park Place? Who's from Dallas? Is it Park Place? Park Place, whatever. They have a bunch of dealerships. They're a Fortune 500 company, and so he was just getting started at that time, post his NFL career. And so one of us had to be a little bit more flexible. I don't have the entrepreneurial spirit. I wanted to go to my 9 to 5, okay? And I did not want to be a stay-at-home mom, but as you would have it, real estate was my plan B. And so I said, I have always loved real estate. I'll get into it. I have a lot of contacts from being in property management. And so my daughter turned 1, and I left. And I gave myself 3 months to get a client. I had $10,000 in reserve in 3 months to get my first client. And so with that, I had a website, my license. I think you could go get your real estate license. It's maybe, at the time, it may be different now. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. It was about $500, $600, easy. $500, $600, boom. Get that. It can be difficult to take the test, pass the test, what have you. Pass the test, and I got to have a website, logo, be able to create some sort of content, photography. I think my headshot was like $50 at the time. I was like, oh, I'm winning. And so within that 3 months, I did get my first client, and my first client were a couple of investors. My second client was an NFL player. It was Casey Hayward. Casey Hayward wanted to purchase his first home, and so I went with him and his mom. May his mother rest in peace, because she has since gone. And so he purchased a townhome. That townhome was around, and I'm sure he would be fine with me, it was around about $300,000. So at that time, that was, substantial. And, but right now, it's worth like triple, so thank me later, Casey. And so I like I said, it was about $10,000. I did not utilize that whole $10,000. And in 2022, of course, you could get photographers to do things a lot cheaper. You could get website managers and content creators to do things a lot more economical, I think, than back then, because we're such a visual society. So to answer your question, it might take you maybe about $5,000 to $10,000 if you give yourself the time and space to do the research and to really set a sound foundation for your business.
Awesome, Kim.
Yeah, so I will start from the beginning of my journey. I went to college for business law and early education, knowing that this is something I wanted to do after I scratched the fashion idea. And I put together a 40-page business plan in a lot of detail in one of my college classes. I was in a grant class, so we were talking about getting grants and going on Shark Tank. So I had all my details aligned. And my sister was 4 years older than me and working and had money and was married. I was fresh out of college, 21, moved out to San Diego, and I brought my idea to her, and I, said, let's do this. She had the money, but I had the business plan, and I was going to make it happen. And she said, okay, yeah, but, this is the first thing. Be very careful doing business with family. If you can avoid it at all costs, especially when it comes to financials, asking for money from family. Just tread lightly in that department. So my sister's husband got involved, and they wanted to give me 2%. But I was going to be there working full time. It was all my business idea, but they had the money, so they were the only ones taking the risk. I got another job that was going to pay me more than they were going to pay me, plus 2% at the end of the year. So I did that, and I had $15,000 of my own saved up, and I started a mobile activity trailer camp. So I built a gym inside of a trailer with $15,000. I think I bought the trailer. I had a car that had a tow on it, and I would bring this trailer to the beach every day, and we did summer camp. We did surfing and swimming in the ocean and lifeguard training stuff, and then gymnastics on the trailer, and it was great, but it was so much work schlepping that trailer every single day, parking it in the beach parking lot, and then at the end of the day I was trapped in there and couldn't get it out, and I got tickets for having a trailer parked overnight. It was awful, but I learned a whole lot from that, and I started with $15,000. Later, my husband came we were always friends, but when we were finally together, he said, you have everything you need to open your own. Why aren't you doing it? I didn't have $200,000. That's what I needed. I needed at least $100,000 worth of equipment. I needed a minimum 6,000 square foot building in San Diego. That's $10,000 a month. So a down payment is, 2-3 months lease. So that's $30,000. Then you need all your marketing fees. You need payroll for a few months. You need reserves in case anything happens. You need all your licensing, and on and on and on. Insurance is really high, obviously, for a kid's gym. And it just goes on. But I will say, if you have some money, you can start small. You don't have to start with the whole big vision, the whole idea right away. You can start in a smaller space. You can start with just a few pieces of equipment. You can start with half your inventory if you want to do something that requires inventory. But do plan to need, a few months forward of money before you dive into anything. Like she said, she gave herself 3 months. That's another thing. If you're trying to do multiple things, it's really hard because you can't give your all to anything if you're doing everything just a little bit. So you do need to stop and give your all to your business if you really want to be successful. And so that means stopping your probably full-time job for a little bit. So those are more reserves. But there's lots of ways to get it as you're going to. I talked about, right when we opened, I got founder memberships. So we weren't even a thing. No one knew what we were. I posted on the Nextdoor app. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that. And I said, look, you can buy a year's membership for $1,000. For more than one kid, $5,000. I raised $30,000 before I even had the space leased, just saying I was going to provide classes to their children in the neighborhood. And now that we're an established company, I can do that in any neighborhood and make a whole lot money before we even open, because they see what it is and they see what is coming, and they'll see it being built. And then they're founder members, which you can do for all types of things, and they get, you know, the locked-in rates for life. Or if they're your first client, you keep them at that price for 5 years because they paid you up front and helped you get started. Making it a community and getting everyone involved, instead of having a bunch of little investors where you have to pay them back. You provide the service.
Awesome, and great concept for founder memberships. That's amazing. I know, Shannon, you wanted to add to that.
I know it's not my question, but it's grind season. When you are starting a business, I don't care how much you have. I don't care what you don't have. There is so much out there. There are so many resources out there. Like we said earlier, don't be afraid to ask. We all are learning. We're all, at some point, you're a beginner. So ask those questions. There's so many resources out there for you, but regardless of what resources there are, you are going to come out of pocket and come out of heart and come out of mind in so many different ways when you are beginning to start a business or starting a business. I had a loan, and like I said, I know it's not my question, but I had a loan, and they messed up my loan. During the pandemic, everybody was understaffed. My loan was destroyed, and I had to come out of pocket so much that I didn't even, in so many different ways that I didn't even expect to have to come out. My friends ask me stuff all the time. I'm like, listen, I'm broke. Right now, we're in grind season, and it's okay. It's okay. You gotta want it bad enough that you're gonna do whatever you gotta do to make sure it's successful. I had to stop shopping. My budget that I might have spent on other things before, that budget changed completely because my eye is on the prize. And if you do what you have to do, you reap what you sow.
Right.
You do what you gotta do now or next year when you open your business, all of that'll come back, but you're gonna have to sacrifice something.
Awesome.
So just be prepared for that.
And Amber wants to contribute. I said no, but
I'm broke too, okay? So, I'm sorry. I just want to say this from my personal experience, because for me personally, the assumption was, oh, Justin gave you the money for everything. And it was like, he gave me the startup. Yes, he definitely boosted me, but I did this. And what my strategy was to keep reinvesting into the business. So we didn't take a profit from the business for like the first year. I reinvested into inventory. I reinvested into helping to build venues. I reinvested into our people, our team, and just helped myself to really grow the business by reinvesting into it and not taking anything for myself for a very, very long time, because my goal was to cut out the middleman. You don't need a venue there because I have one. You don't need inventory. I have the inventory. So we really, even though yes, we started and you have to have that initial investment to start anything, right? What I did and what my strategy was to really take everything I was getting and just keep reinvesting it to help to grow the business. That's all I had to say. Sorry.
you did it. Okay, listen, I'm not gonna.
I just want to go off that.
I'm the wrong moderator because I'm gonna keep things in order, and I want to give the audience an opportunity to ask questions. So I know you guys have jewels and gems, and that's where you come into play. Everybody gets on stage and they want to tell and pour into you guys, but it is on you. We have round tables to have round table discussions. We have people moving around so that you guys can have discussions so they don't feel like they have to, I don't know the appropriate things, vomit it out on you so that they make sure they get it out. Because everybody wants to share and everybody wants to win. So I'm going to move to the next question, and then in the audience, I'm sure it'll come up. I'm sure it will come up. But if it doesn't, I give you a moment. I will. So this one is going to Amber and also to Shannon. This question is about scaling. A wise person always says, know your end before you even start. And so I want to talk to you about how are you scaling staple events? What's next? And what does that look like for you? And then the same question to Shannon when you get finished.
That's like a 100-part answer.
We're going to keep it to 5.
Maybe
even
focus
4.
on one thing that I just previously said. I want to focus on that one because it was something I had to learn the hard way. Invest in your people, invest in your team. It is virtually impossible to be the master of everything. And when I started this business, I was a social media coordinator, I was a CEO, I was a customer service person, and what ended up happening was I wasn't answering emails until 2-3 days later. I was missing consultation calls of people saying they wanted events. That's money, and time is money. And I was missing money because I was doing myself a disservice by trying to do it all myself. Once I started building the team, I hired my social media coordinator. I got someone to come and answer all the emails, my client relations managers. I got a second client relations manager because I'm like, she can't handle it herself, and now I'm doing her what I did to myself. And we got event managers who manage all the events. We have 3 events in Chicago right now, and I'm here in Dallas. So once you really invest in your people, you grow your team and get the right people. Don't just hire your sister and your cousin because they're your sister and your cousin. Get the right people to join your team, and your business will grow. You need people to help you grow. So I'm going to focus on that, but I do have other answers if you guys want to talk to. Okay, sorry.
That's right. Thank you, Amber. Shannon?
Well, that's I couldn't have said it better. My teachers, I handpick my teachers. I tell them in their interviews, I say, you guys are it for me. Yes, technically they work for me, right? But I work for you. I need to make sure my people are good. My teachers are taken care of. They have benefits. They have paid days off. They have all types of, I feed them. I try and do everything. I mean, their kids, daggone, go to school for free. I have to take care of my team because they're going to ultimately take care of those babies, and then the business will take care of itself. I can't be everywhere at once. I can't even be at all my school locations at once. I have to be able to trust my people. And when you take care of them, they're going to take care of you. Teachers, we need more of them. Like they need to be paid more. They need to be taken care of because they do.
So this one, and we can start this way and go back to make it easier. This is the last question I'll have for you guys, and then we're going to take questions from the audience. And then if we have time, you're going to get your question in. One piece of advice to anybody, it can be to anybody entering your industry, anybody trying to figure it out, but I want one piece of advice on being in business and having balance. Because we are mothers, and we are wives, and significant others, and and I know most of these ladies were specific about being intentional about this purposeful work that they're doing in the world. So one piece of advice on balance.
I guess on balance, just prioritize. I mean, I'm trying to think of my answer because I know you got to prioritize you and what needs to be done. Make lists, write things down, take the time you need. Take care, I guess that's it. Take care of yourself first. Because if you're not good, no one else is going to be good. Not your family, not your business, not your like your immediate family, whether it be your kids and your husband, and then the people you're taking care of and or your mom. If you're not good, you cannot pour from an empty cup. So I know that sounds like so cliche, but it's the truth, right? So if we're trying to run these businesses and trying to start these businesses, but we're not okay, it's not going to work. It's just not, because we have to be in a mental headspace that we can learn to balance, and we can learn to listen, and we can learn our craft and better our craft. But you cannot pour from an empty cup. So it all starts with us. It all starts with you taking care of yourself.
Awesome. Kim?
I think we're all probably still trying to figure that out. I think balance is the hardest thing as a business owner. I'm surely still trying to figure out. I have 3 under 3, and it is hard. But back to building your team and everything, don't be afraid of your payroll. If you need to put someone to take care of your house on your payroll because you have to run a business, or you rather take care of your kids and clean your house, do it. It's worth it, and you'll get the time back in money. It's your kids deserve it more than your bank account, for sure. And I am blessed enough that my business is directly with my family, so I'm able to bring my kids to my business. And if your family is important to you or whatever it is that is important to you, make that your business so that you can keep it balanced by integrating it all together.
I just had to change my answer on the fly because he took it. Okay, so I would say lean on the people around you for help. Me personally, I feel guilty when I leave my baby with my husband. I don't know why, because that's his daddy. But I feel guilty, like I'm the mom. I should have the baby all the time and be a business owner and manage all these people and all these venues and do everything. And then even my mom, I get guilty asking her. It's like, hey, can you watch the baby? And then she gets excited. She's like, yes, I'll watch the baby for you. So don't be afraid to lean on the people you have around you. You may not need to hire help because your mom may be there and be willing to watch the kids for you. Just really lean on those people. Lean on your significant other because they leaned on you, so we can lean on them. Just lean on people around you. That was on the fly.
Okay, so I'm going to answer this question, but first I'm going to say, you asked me who inspires me in the mentorship question. And I'll say this because there are a lot of business women in the room, and the reality is housewives have inspired me the absolute most. When I came into real estate, I had a Instagram handle, the Georgia Housewife. First of all, because I graduated from the University of Georgia, and so did my husband. And then for some reason, everybody thinks that a football player's wife is a housewife. And I was also doing business with several housewives, and they are the hardest working women alive. Okay, whether it's going to Whole Foods, private school, whatever. Picking up water for your husband when he's in off season, being apart during the off season or being together. It's just a very, very challenging job, but women seem to make it happen and get through it. To say what type of advice, was that the question?
What type of advice would you give somebody on balance?
See, I can't stay on target. Okay, so as far as balance is concerned, the thing about balance is the pandemic put a lot of things in perspective. And if I could speak freely, like, I didn't give a damn about your Chanel bag when my kids were at home and I was the cafeteria lady, the gym teacher, and they were still calling my husband to the dealership every single day. And I also had to still do real estate because people wanted to purchase homes and make sure all of those things were done. So as far as balance is concerned, and I used to struggle with this when I first got into real estate, like, oh goodness, I'm holding a baby with a bottle and I got this person calling me and they're supposed to be whoever they said he was, and so I gotta answer the phone because if I don't answer the phone I'm gonna lose the money. So I never do things based on profit. My intention is purpose alone. I think that we all have an even purpose, is to come and glorify God to the best of our ability. That's number one. And so whenever I do anything, I try to do it. Being human, sometimes we falter. So in balance, there are weeks when I'm an A+ wife, weeks when I'm an A+ agent, weeks when I'm an A+ mom. And then there are those other weeks where I got a C+ in the wife category because I haven't done my job. He only want one thing, you know. And I'm just like, golly, like, I could at least, you know. And then I follow up that next week and I'm good. So it's just, and I think it kind of correlates with what we were speaking about as far as branding. My whole thing is, if I prioritize being a woman of God, being my husband's wife and helpmate, making sure that my children are taken care of, and then bringing in my career, and that's just me, then I think that things seem to fall better into place. Do we always get it right? No. But, you know, are we making sure that we're focused on those things? Absolutely. And I understand that we're here, we're all about sisterhood and making sure, but I don't count my success alone from my husband. You know, and that goes out to even the mothers in the room who have NFL sons. I'm not on this stage because my husband works as a custodian in a local high school. No, I'm on this stage because basically he was in the league and I was invited here. So I can't say that I haven't been successful aside from what he's done. No, he's my partner. And any success that is attached to me is attached to him. And so we just continue, and I'm going to close this. We just continue to pour into each other. And if I could leave you with anything, it would be life and death is in the power of the tongue. And when my husband transitioned from the NFL, it could have gone either way. Because some of us know that ain't easy. That phase and that process is not easy for a lot of them, but by the grace of God, I'm glad that I had enough wisdom to pour life into that man who had done so much over the course of his life. And guess what happens now? He looked at me the other week and said, "How you still this fine?" I said, "Thank you." Okay, that's all you had to say, because I done had these kids. I got this mommy tummy that I'm sick of, can't go to the gym. He don't want me to go get the surgery. I'm mad. And you know, the reality is, yeah, girl, get the surgery. See? And everybody around, all my friends, don't listen to the NFL wives. They tell you, go and get the surgery. And he's like, you can work that off. But anywho, I digress. It's just a matter of keeping everything into perspective and priority. God bless you.
I love seeing me out in somebody else's mouth. This is my girl. So thank you, ladies, so much. We're going to pull the floor for questions. But this quote, I think, is so profound in this moment. You can come get the mic, Keith. We're going to multitask. Never be afraid to sit a while and think. This is a lot to digest. And that's Lorraine Hansberry, A Raisin in the Sun. But just never be afraid to sit down and think a little bit. Give yourself that time in that moment, because it's a lot. It's a lot on everyone. Thank you, ladies, so much. But we're going to give the floor for questions. Please ask about whatever detail was missing, or I can pass the mic back and let Kim have her opportunity to say what she wants to say. Mommy brave.
Thank you, ladies. It was very inspiring. My question is, as I'm in a season of realizing I get to be really resourceful and utilizing the network and the people and all the things, how did you navigate the difference between kind of that preconception of like, you have money, so pay for everything, versus kind of like using the name of like people want to do favors for you and they want to help you out and that kind of thing? So did you find a balance between that, or were you more equipped to use the NFL name to get things without paying? Do you get what I'm saying with that? Like, to use the network, the resources, relationships, yeah.
Use it.
Yeah, like we said before, don't be afraid to ask. I think you started off with how do you get started, whether you just spend the money or not. And as long as it takes and as hard as it is, do a business plan so you really know what money you need, because $10,000 here and $20,000 there to come up out of nowhere is a lot. And that's what I wanted to add before, that some of us don't have the money if we're struggling or the business can't pay for itself to fund, and that's where businesses fail. So you need to know what your expenses are going to be when things aren't going right. And don't be afraid to use the name to ask, say, you know, who your network is. Your network is your network. So whether it helps you or you're scared to say the name and you want to do it on your own, do it on your own after you get what you need.
Right. Right. Next question. Oh, you're going to contribute.
I was going to say, me personally, you got to read the room. Like, sometimes using a name can bite you in the butt. When you're getting your hair done, that could bite you in the butt. Because sometimes I've seen prices rise. And then sometimes the name, it helps you. So you just got to read the room. And or when in doubt, don't tell them till after.
Right.
Make them do a good job after they've given you the price tag already, you know?
Excellent advice.
Get the price first.
Go. You ask the next question. Anyone else have any questions? So everybody has a business plan. Everybody knows exactly what they're doing. Everybody has figured it out from top to bottom. I am impressed. A 30-minute session. Wait, we're going to let somebody else ask a question.
So real quick, just to add to what Masika was saying, it wasn't until I actually attended the the SET conference that I got a business plan. We were on a virtual, and you could kind of, I wasn't doing it, but you can wing real estate, right? And so one of the ladies in the chat were saying how, and I'm not trying to out anybody, were saying how, oh, these ladies don't have a business plan. And it dawned on me, and I was totally inspired by just that question, like, why would it, and I think majority of the panel were in real estate, but it's like, no, I haven't needed, and it inspired me to write a business plan. So write a business plan. It's a much better process for your business, and
Liveplan.com will walk you through, will make your business plan for you. Do it. Write it down. If anybody, liveplan.com. I think it's like $18 for a month. Use it, then you can cancel it. It's amazing. You don't need an accountant or a financial advisor to put the numbers for you. You plug everything in. It asks you every detail, walks you through it, explains it, has videos to explain it. It's amazing. I've had multiple businesses and I still use it. Liveplan.com. Live plan.com.
Awesome. You got a question in the back,
Yes.
Keita?
Okay. One question that I have, because I am a new business owner, and coming from like a corporate background where I'm used to just doing the 9 to 5 and checking in, now coming to the corporate side and actually have employees that I'm responsible for, it does come with a heavy burden, right? Because now you're being responsible for people and their livelihood on top of trying to manage your own. What would be probably the biggest key advice that you would give to a new entrepreneur who is struggling with that balance? Because I think one of you mentioned that it's difficult to like allocate tasks for people. That's something that I struggle with. I feel like instead of telling my staff like, okay, what to do, I'm like, do you think you can do this? And my husband's like, Lacey, you can't be like that. And I know it's not necessarily like what you say, but it's how you say it. I had such a horrible time in corporate world. I don't want to be my employees' friends, but I want them to feel like, I don't know, it's just that balance of kind of how do you tell, people, this is what I need you to do, with not looking like a BI, you know what I'm saying? I didn't mean to say it like that. Please don't record that.
I like to avoid it. I have a manager and they handle it. I like to stay behind the scenes.
Masika hinted to it, but she didn't say it in the mic. But I would say to set expectations early. I have a team of 4 real estate agents, and it may take you some time to kind of. And I think I'm pretty good at discerning people who are, and I've done well at it. But I would say out of my team of 4. I got one go-to, and she is handling all of my transactions right now. So it may take you a second to really find who to help you execute whatever your goal is.
I know I'm not supposed to interject, Denisha, but this is just a business thing. So when you work in corporate, they have NDAs you sign, employment agreements you sign, a set of corporate cultures, expectations, fireable offenses, probationable offenses, and for some reason when we're small entrepreneurs, we think we don't need to employ those standards that we learned. They're your protection. Put them in place. I can be your friend, but you need to do your business. I tell my kids all the time, I'm not your friend. We ain't cool. I'm your parent. My job is this. Your job is that. The expectation is really clear. And I think that we get afraid because we're like, you not McDonald's? You not? Yes, I'm not. But we have a corporate culture, understanding. We have employment contracts. You understand what the call of your job in this company is. So make sure you set those policies and procedures in place early, and then it's not a discussion, it's a fact.
And then also apply it too. So if someone isn't doing their job, if someone isn't doing what the task that you delegated to them, it's warning one, it's, hey, so you're on probation, it's, just apply whatever structure you come up with, whatever agreement you come up with, make sure you're applying it when they aren't doing their job.
Wow, so this question right here pretty much is, I don't know if I was the only one struggling with this, but when I heard Tiana say that her success is her husband's success, I feel like for so long I was pretty much fighting to have independency of my husband and to pretty much show up as this independent woman, which I was before meeting him, that literally I felt like we was fighting against each other for a while. It was like a struggle of who's doing what, and I never wanted to give him credit for what it was that he did contribute to my life because I was independent. And it took for me to get mature enough to be like, wow, my husband really did upgrade my life. My husband really did pour into my life. And now everything that we do, I'm comfortable with saying is us, is not me. So as I listen to you be comfortable saying that, and the young lady sitting next to you, mentioned the $100,000 and I did this or whatever, I can relate to both of you guys because I was her. Like, I did this. Yeah, you gave me this, but I did this. And then I hear you. So I want to know, how did you get to that point of, being able to accept the reality of, just how they contribute and the togetherness?
I appreciate Teresa. Teresa is also another fellow luxury agent in Miami. So thank you for, your partnership and what you contribute to our industry. My success is not absent from my husband's success and vice versa. So that just means that I do have success. You have success. You are independent. You know what you bring to the table, but it's not absent because I've been with him for the past 12 years. How could we grow without each other? How could I have these kids without, his input and his encouragement and him thinking I'm fine the other day? And so, it's just like, oh, okay, you kind of sprinkling in the confidence that I needed to get up on that stage, And so it's just like, it's not absent from his success. I know what type of work I put in. Half the time, my husband don't know what type of work I put in or he would be trying to fix it, And some of our spouses are like that. Like, if you knew how much I did every day, you would appreciate me more. But we don't want to put that load on them because they got a responsibility too. Because I'm certainly not rejecting any, favorable things that come along with the benefits of my relationship. But I want to make sure that he's in a good headspace and mentally adept so that he can do his job. Because I'm gonna try to do my job, whether I get a C or A that week. And so it's not absent from his success and who he is at this phase. Maybe, there's a time, raise your hand, moms, of NFL players in the room. If I met a few, so don't try, thank you. My mother-in-law, she lives 15 minutes away from me. It's a pro and a con. More of a pro, but I appreciate her. So, there's a phase where he was, dependent upon, the relationship that he had with his parents. And then there's, now that we're married, there's some dependency on me. So I have to understand that we're all successful in this. And again, it goes back to the power players in your life and what that means to you. So you got to have people who you can make sure your resources come together appropriately.
Awesome. This was a dynamic. We're out of time, ladies. I'm going to wrap it up with this. We're out of time.
Amber
No,
has
I'm
one
kidding.
thing to say.
You can say
I just
one
want to say
thing.
this because this is really important. So my very first client when I started the business was working at my dining room table was Leslie Williams. I met Leslie at the first Set an Example conference in Atlanta. I love Leslie, right? She's so sweet. And I'm telling you guys, when her and I connected, we vibed with each other, we followed each other on Instagram, and when I posted that, hey, I'm about to start an event planning company, she reached out to me right away and she said, oh girl, I got 3 events for you, come do it. And that was my very first client. So putting yourself out there, coming to these type of conferences, the Women of the NFL conference, NFLPA is doing their summer getaway in a few weekends. My husband learned so much from that conference last year and applied it to his businesses. Putting yourself out there like this is so beneficial. We have so many resources in the NFL that are available to us. Use them to your advantage. That's all. Thank you. Good night.
So I'm going to end with this. When I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in the service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I'm afraid. Audre Lorde. Thank you, ladies, so much. You have been so amazing.